We are back in the booth, Flipper Boys here, being joined by actually one of my best media friends on the planet because I live vicariously through him. He sees the world, he has people in high places, and he keeps grinding. And fortunately or unfortunately, we'll get into it. He's a fan of the Philadelphia Phillies. Good up for Jim Velasco. What's going on, sir?
What's up, Flobo? Yeah, for better for worse, I am a Phillies fan. But like as with your team, we have our ups and downs, but
Yeah.
we stick with it.
Yeah, and I appreciate that because everyone was telling me, "Oh, Flo, we love your show, but you have too many Mets fans on it." So you see, I listen to the people.
Yeah, you got to equal it out somewhat.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll be honest with you. Being a Phillies fan had some major ups. I mean, you actually won a world championship this century. That must have been cool, right?
Yeah, so it's funny because when we were talking about doing this, I automatically thought of what I consider one of the best moments of my life, and that's in 2008 when the Phillies won the World Series. And it's definitely a weird World Series to like think about because of the fact that it was a rain delay, like in the like when like 2/3 of the game was already done.
Mhm.
So I don't know if anyone watches It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but they did a specific episode based on that World Series. And in that episode, they go to the Holiday Inn, which was really the Holiday Inn, which used to be down the street from the ballpark. So when that final game was happening, I was at that Holiday Inn. There was a bar there called Benny the Bums. I was there with a bunch of friends, and I was there both nights of the World Series of the
Yeah.
final game. And I remember we were watching it, and then the second night when we were there, you know, I just remember the last pitch being thrown, and I saw that it was a strike, and for like a half second, maybe like a full second, I like blacked out. And when I came to, everyone around me was going nuts. People were taking the beer girls at the beer tubs were like literally opening bottles and just spraying everyone. I
Yeah.
actually have a picture of like my group like celebrating, and you could actually see people crowd surfing behind them. Yeah, it was an insane moment, and I call it the best moment, one of the best moments of my life, because growing up as a Phillies fan and being friends with so many other Phillies fans, like to see it finally happen was amazing. And especially like afterwards, the everyone at that bar and every other bar nearby, and since it's Bank Park, everyone emptied into Broad Street, and we were
Right.
basically at Broad Street for hours just celebrating. And yeah, I remember it like it was yesterday because it's so vivid in my head.
And you're a Philly original, or you're from South Jersey, or
So I'm from South Jersey, and this is something a lot of people may not realize, but you coming from like, being a Mets fan may realize
right?
this, but like a lot of South Jersey is Philadelphia based, whereas a
Hmm.
lot of North Jersey is New York based. So where I grew up, I'm literally 20 minutes outside of Philadelphia, just over the bridge. So that's why when I say New Jersey, people are like, why aren't you a Yankees fan? Why aren't you a Mets fan? It's like, because I'm literally like right over
Right.
the bridge from Philly. Everything around here is Philly, so it's just part of the South Jersey mentality to be a Philly fan. Not saying we didn't come across any Mets fans or Giants fans. It definitely exists in our area, but yeah, we were primarily Philly, and we still are.
So talk to me about that. So the idea of becoming a fan of baseball, right? Some people say it's boring, people say it's not cool, but you seem to be a fan of it. Like, what was the first experiences? Who got you involved with the game? Like, are they still a fan now? Talk to me.
So I will say that growing up, I would watch games, but I didn't have like a team affiliation. I should mention that I did move around a lot when I was younger, but I spent the majority of my childhood in New Jersey outside of Philly. So just slowly growing up with it, going to school and hearing everyone else.
Wait, is that Wawa territory? Or is that Sheets territory? That's Wawa, right?
Yeah, that's definitely Wawa.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Sheets is more like more Western PA or like further North PA. But yeah, definitely Wawa territory.
Sure,
Not
sure.
saying I don't have love for Sheets. I definitely have love for Sheets, but
You play both sides. Listen,
I
man,
play
I don't
both
want any
sides. Listen,
problems with
I know
Sheets. Yeah.
there are advantages to both. I mean, in an ideal world, we would have both in the area. And honestly, living in LA, I think not having a Wawa or Sheets is like such a misstep, but I understand franchise wise. But yeah, like I basically just growing up with everyone who in the area, like it just slowly made me appreciate the game more and become a fan, not just for the Phillies, but also the Eagles. So like I've kind of been ingrained in Philly sports culture.
Who was your guy on the baseball side? Like, what was your
Uh,
fandom of jersey
I,
sales?
I mean, I feel like, growing up in the 90s, I feel like for me, it was definitely like Lenny Dykstra, Darren Dalton. Uh, like to this day, I still remember buying a Lenny Dykstra Sports Illustrated poster from the book fair and hanging up in my room.
Dude, book fairs were a big deal when they came over, man.
Oh
Like,
man, you would get like that colored little like newspaper pamphlet thing, and then you got the order form in the back. Yeah, I just
yeah.
remember like ordering the books, and then when actually going there and seeing the posters, like that's the one I want.
Dude, I used to wait for a Goosebumps drop like they were Nikes. Like, what's the latest, bro? Dude, that takes me back. All right, so talk to me, man. You're in the park. You're at Citizens Bank Park, right? Where do you sit? What do you get to eat? How do you experience the game if I came along with you?
So I would say that probably I've sat all over the ballpark, but I think I just have a certain like attachment to left field, like
Yeah.
basically home run territory, but also the way Citizens Bank Park is built. That's around the area where Ashburn Alley is, and Ashburn Alley is where they have all the food, all the drinks. So it's like it's right there, and especially like they don't have any more, rest in peace. But when they had Dollar Dog Days,
Oh,
it was just like, all right, I'm gonna grab like a bunch of $1 dogs and then sit on my seat, and when I'm out, just run back up and run back down. But
so
yeah, like I remember vividly one time on one of those Dollar Dog nights, uh, you know, you buy more than you can actually eat. So I was there with a big group of friends. There's at least like maybe 15 of us, and I bought a bunch of dogs thinking other people would want them, and everyone in my group's like, "No, I'm full, I'm full." And I just asked around, I'm like, "Does anyone want a hot dog?" Oh, okay. Anyone else want a hot dog? And then like some people further away were kind of saying, "Oh, I'll take one." It got to the point I'm literally chucking hot dogs that I have in my arm to other people in other sections,
yeah.
and it's kind of like causing a ruckus. So much so that security had to come down and tell me to stop. And it's funny because some people I talk about, or I'm friends with, still talk about it to this day because they say they're like, "You're like one of the first people to do that," because back later, like they would actually kick people out of the park for doing that, and I just got away with it, just like stop doing that, sit down.
Yeah, you know what, man? The way you described it, that's definitely like main character energy. You want a hot dog? It's commotion during the middle of the game. It's going on.
Honestly, it was more about just me not wanting these hot dogs to go to waste, and then people noticing that I was giving them away for free. So
That is the most Philly answer. I was doing a public service. What's the big deal? You should be thanking me. No, I love that, man. I'm a pretzel and beer guy myself, but I actually had a chance to visit Citizens Bank Park last June. I was miserable because I made a fatal mistake when I went to Philadelphia. I was there for one night, didn't get a hotel. So I got the train in at 7 o'clock in the morning, and my train out was at midnight. And I was just stuck walking the streets of South Philly the entire day. That said, my experience wasn't ideal. But if someone is thinking about going to Citizens Bank Park, how would you describe the atmosphere from your opinion?
I mean, it's a very like hit or miss kind of place, and I say that as a fan. The miss would be like if you're a fan of a rival team, like I know how Philly fans can be, so I would suggest like be as respectful as you can. You're gonna have to take some like figurative punches, hopefully not literal. Like as long as you're respectful, I feel like there are a lot of respectful people. Unfortunately, it's the bad fans that give us a bad name, and that's what most people know us for. But I'd like to remind everyone there are bad fans in every fan base, every sport. It's unfortunate that Philly gets a lot of bad rap because some guy in the '60s decided to throw snowballs at Santa Claus.
that
Tumbled
really
down ever
happened?
since that. Oh
That
yeah.
really happened? Oh my gosh.
So the legend is that during a game where there was snow in the seats in the fields at Veterans Stadium, fans were throwing snowballs at Santa Claus during halftime. What a lot of people don't know because they don't look into it is that the guy who played Santa Claus was actually a fan who a lot of people hated because he instigated a lot of people. So basically, he was bragging to people that he was Santa Claus, and this was more of a retaliation But people don't see that. People are just like, oh, Philly hates Santa Claus. That's how evil they are.
I'm sorry. So some guy got to be Santa Claus and felt the need to brag about it, and then you guys felt the need to chop him down a peg.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Like
All right.
think of the typical Philly fan. That's the
Right.
guy who was Santa Claus.
Right.
So that's basically what happened there.
That made my day. Uh, so we're talking about rivalries on a previous episode of the Black Baseball Mixtape. In my opinion, in the NL East, there's a three-way rivalry between the Braves and Mets and the Phillies. I think the show has the Mets as a primary rival for Philadelphia. What's your opinion? What's your take on it? Who do you think is the Phillies' top rival right now?
I mean, I have to say the Mets. I mean, as of right now, you guys like are quite a few games above us, and we still got a whole season to go, and we'll see how it goes. But I don't know. As of now, like especially with how the Braves started off the season, they could be rivals. They could surprise us. But as of right now, like it's definitely between us and the Mets at this point. And never say never. I mean, we've gotten into the postseason off the wild card, where a lot of the wins during the season didn't matter. So I'll never rule any team out. But given how the Mets have been performing and how we've been up and down lately since the beginning of the season, I don't know. I just don't see the Braves coming back up that much. But like I said, who knows?
I'm cool with that. No, I'm cool with the Braves being down there. Just before we shift gears a bit, favorite current player for the Phillies, or one who played this year or last?
I think right now, I will say growing up, like over the past few years, like Chase Utley's always going to be forever my guy.
Of course. Boo.
I realize where the hate comes from, but I don't know, like going back to that '08 World Series, I'll never forget, during the World Series celebration, he says, world champions, world fucking champions. And that always rung true. And even when he played that one All-Star game and people were booing him, he was like, boo, fuck you. Like, That's Chase Utley. Like, even when he was in the Dodgers, I still had love for him because he's Chase Utley. But right now, I mean, I feel like as much as similarly, a lot of people give him hate because of who he is as a person, but as a player and what he's done for Philadelphia in general, Bryce Harper.
Oh yeah. I think he embodies the town, man. That beard is very majestic.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely adopted like Philly as a home. Like whereas most players are like, oh yeah, I'm just playing for Philadelphia, but he's really ingrained himself into the area and the people, and the fact that he wears a Fanatics sliders mitt and even cleats. Like, oh no, you're really fully in there, man.
Yeah, I speak about the Fanatic. As much as I'm not a fan of it, I do think Blooper's a ripoff, but that's another discussion for another time. So we actually met outside of baseball. We actually met in the wrestling space. You have been seen with a elevated company at these events. Talk about the rise of wrestling right now, man. It's hot. I think it's one of the best periods of the grappling arts and sciences we have seen in such time.
Yeah, like I'm in my 40s now, but I have been wrestling.
For those on the audio version, he looks like he's 26. I don't know why you're saying that, but continue.
Yeah, I've basically been a fan since I was 5 years old. So whenever they say there's like a slow or bad period in wrestling, it's always like, I don't realize that until we're past it, because I'm just continuously watching. And for better, for worse, I'm still going to be watching. I might have complaints here and then about certain characters or angles, but that's just wrestling in general. But yeah, I've told so many people who have gotten into it recently, like, you're coming in and like, it's the hottest it's ever been. People can argue the Monday Night Wars, but people were watching then for a different reason. People were watching then because of competition and, rather rated R type material, as it were, during the WWF Attitude Era. Pushing boundaries with reality. Not that that's not happening now, but that's how it was back then. But now it's like they're trying to make it more in tune with the characters as people. And thankfully nowadays people are being a little bit more safe, as far as like the matches themselves for the most part. But yeah, I mean, the merger with TKO and UFC has really brought more eyes to the product. And, this multi-billion dollar Netflix deal is like pretty crazy. So it's bringing it more worldwide than it already was.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that, I'm coming in contact with more fans, also realizing that, people were probably fans in the past and it took this to get them back into it.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like I'm with you 100%. I'm not quite 40 yet, but I'm knocking on 40's door. But I do understand like the down periods when you're still watching it. It's still good. Cold pizza is still pizza, right? And to see it grow and to see this be this other level is great. But my next question is kind of like the grumpy old man side of me, if you can imagine that. I went to WrestleMania this year. I think you did as well. Oh, I know you went to WrestleMania this year, and it was great, but it was really pricey. I mean, 15 years ago, $75 got you on the floor. Floor seats were definitely in the four figures. Is wrestling as an art form shutting out the little guy, you think?
Absolutely. It's become one of those things where, before the Endeavor thing happened and before TKO, it was more about, just running events so everyone everywhere could see it. Now it's become one of those things where it's more about exclusivity. And unfortunately, with the exclusivity means higher ticket prices. And because of that, it's pushing the average fan out because, like, if you're like, just say a family of four who wants to go see WWE, if you wanted to bring the kids just so they could actually see an event live, you could pay like maybe $50 a ticket per person and sit up in the nosebleeds, and kids will still have a great time because they got to see live wrestling. $50 now? Oh, cool. That'll buy you a t-shirt
Right.
at a live event.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. Like, I understand it from a business aspect, but unfortunately, with these higher prices, as long as people continue to pay them, the average fan is going to be completely priced out. And I'll be honest with you, I was not at WrestleMania. I was in
Okay.
I was in Las Vegas to experience, the week with all the other wrestling fans and other events in town. But I didn't actually go to WrestleMania because I just refused to pay those ticket prices. As a fan, it hurt me not to be there live, to be in the city and have it so close. But I also know that, like, the prices for the seats in that particular area,
Yeah.
I would have, like, in previous eras, like, that would have been like a third of the price, and I just couldn't justify it. Even when, tickets the day of dropped down, it was overpriced. And it kind of sucks that that's how it is now. But I understood it. Like, that's actually what I did in WrestleMania last year when it was in Philadelphia. I just paid attention to. I was in town because it's home, and I was paying attention to the ticket prices leading up to the event. I'm like, they're dropping, but then not even really that much, and I just can't justify paying this much. And honestly, I had more fun watching it at maybe more fun in hindsight, but like I had fun watching it at watch parties and stuff like that, even though I wasn't there. Because guess what? Like, I got to hang out with everyone afterward anyway. So it was still a good time, regardless of the fact that I was in the building or not.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because for two things. One, it's WrestleMania is going to be in New Orleans next year, and I'm kind of thinking about doing that, if at all, just to be in town and not buy tickets because I can't even afford tickets to Money in the Bank. But linking this to baseball, there is a big talk about how to get fans out there. Are they being priced out? Can they find value in doing things? What's the use of going and seeing it live? I might as well watch it at home. But let me ask you your opinion. I mean, is there an advantage to going out to the ballpark? Is there an advantage to seeing it live? Or we should really think about the cost first and go, hey, look, if you get experience with enhanced commentary at home, we just probably just chill out on our couches.
Well, I definitely think that, like, with baseball, you have the benefit of having a crazy amount of games per season, as opposed to now with WWE cutting their untelevised live events to now basically just keeping it for televised. You're only seeing it. You only get an opportunity a handful of times to see WWE live. Whereas baseball, you know what? Spend that $50 or $60 for a ticket because you can at least enjoy a whole game, and you'll at least get to see it live.
Yeah.
And you know what you're getting. You don't have to worry about storylines or anything like that. You get to see a game. You may not know what the final score is going to be or how many runs your team's going to get, but hey, you're at least there. And honestly, if you at least see like 1 to 3 games a season, I feel like that you're covered. And obviously, the more hardcore fans will spend money on postseason tickets, but if you're an average fan, you'll be fine watching that at home.
Yeah, you know what? Find it watching at home, but there's one thing you can't do at home, and I'm actually going through my notes here, and I know you asked me if I was going to ask you this, but I didn't tell you, so it's kind of a surprise. You are a theme park enthusiast, which I thought was pretty cool because I am one as well. Tell me, what's that experience like? You can't do that from home. You have to go out there.
Oh no, that one, yeah,
Yeah,
you definitely.
what's that experience like nowadays, man?
I mean, I love the theme parks, but I also have the benefit of being able to go to Disney theme parks for free because of my job status.
Mhm.
So I go to the parks pretty regularly. I don't make it out to Orlando nearly as much as I'd want to, but with it being the other side of the country, it's a lot harder. But I live 45 minutes away from Disneyland, so I'm there pretty frequently, and I recognize the fact that like I don't have to go on every ride every time I go. I don't have to eat at a certain restaurant at a certain time because I feel like because I go so much, I can like I can do that another time. Or oh, let me do this one ride and that's the only one I'm going to focus on. If I get to ride any other rides today, that's great, but I don't have to. Um, I do worry about overcrowding because that's how theme parks are. So I
Yeah.
try to pick days that are a little less crowded. But if I'm schedule wise forced to go on the weekend, I take it as I go and just know that okay, there are going to be certain things I won't be able to do because of lines, or certain places I'm not going to be able to eat because they're completely full of reservations. But regardless, I still love a good theme park. I'm very excited to at some point go to Universal Epic. It looks amazing. But also, I will definitely be going back to Islands of Adventure to ride the Velocicoaster, which as of right now is probably my favorite coaster.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You know, if Disneyland just allowed to me to DoorDash churros, I wouldn't even leave the house. But I am a very simple man, there, Jim. That's
Uh,
that's
I mean, honestly, yes. If you could get like a batch of the specialty churros DoorDash to
yeah.
you, like man,
Yeah, like what are we doing here? What are we doing here? You had mentioned though you're on the Disney family. You're part of the Marvel brands as a mastering specialist, and I were I'm still floored by that because it's like man, that's like a dream for so many. But you are working with characters, much like how we are looking up to baseball players as characters, much like how we love wrestling characters as characters. Like that would be pretty awesome to have passions go with work and go dovetail hand in hand.
yeah. I mean, one of the things that I love about the Marvel brand is the fact that it's incorporated into multiple industries and multiple franchises. For example, sitting on my desk is an Incredible Hulk Phillies bobblehead that was a giveaway at a Phillies game a few seasons ago, and it's like, yeah, we helped with this. Or like I have a gritty comic Avengers comic book that we released at a Flyers game. It's just fun
Oh,
that
the actual Gritty, the mascot Gritty.
the actual mascot Gritty, yeah.
That's pretty
We
funny,
had there
actually.
was an exclusive Gritty cover with Iron Man on an Avengers comic that was a specialty one for a Marvel night, and it's cool that we get to do stuff like that. I have a hand in the films and the TV shows, so I don't work with stuff like that, but being a part of the company, I still appreciate seeing it, especially since I'm a fan of both.
Yeah. And your favorite Marvel hero is
Captain America. It
okay.
could be
All right.
honestly, I could take either Steve Rogers or Sam Wilson. Comics wise, even Bucky Barnes. I don't know why I just like Captain America. Probably because of the Shield.
Yeah, true. I like it in the comics when like Captain America got so sick of America, he's like, "My name is Nomad." He just quit his
Yep.
job, and I was like, "Yeah, man, I know how that feels." Uh, we're talking with Jim Velasco here in the booth. Here's a question I ask everybody as we wind this down. In your opinion, is the sport of baseball cool? Why or why not?
I think the sport of baseball is cool because as multiple people have said over the years, it's the national pastime. It's also a sport that has been adopted in other areas of the world, which a lot of sports aren't like that. Um, I do appreciate the fact that they're trying to, or that they've tried to modernize the game with things like, the instant replay and by adding the pitch clock. Because let's be honest, like I love going to a game, but if I know it's a certain team and it's going to take a while, like there are times in the past where I would go, it's like, yeah, I'll go in the second or third inning.
Yeah.
But now it's like, no, I can be there during the game start, and I know it's going to end by this time more than likely. So I like that, and yeah, I think it's cool because they like I said with Marvel, they incorporate multiple things. Like every team has like a Star Wars night or a bobblehead night or some sort of giveaway night where like it just brings people in. And I don't know, I feel like especially with someone like Otani, like the interest is starting to grow back again with these high profile players.
It is funny how those three industries, whether you're talking about like the comic book world, Marvel as a brand, or professional wrestling or baseball, has very similar tenets. And it's an entertainment value, there's a perception of value, there's stars, there's headline talent. Otani's one of them, Harper's one of them, the Hulk is one of them, John Cena's one of them. And the idea is like it's all for everyone. You just got to find your particular flavor. That was pretty cool for you. You're not like in an office stuck looking at spreadsheets all day, unless you are doing that. I'm sorry. But you actually have some play with entertainment, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, to me, it's all entertainment, even though like it's obviously like baseball being a big athletic sport, but similar with wrestling, it may not be an actual sport, but it still involves a lot of athleticism.
Yeah,
And
I like it.
If you want to if you want to relate that to even what I do, like with Marvel TV shows and movies, like you're seeing a lot of crazy stunt scenes. So once again, the physicality is there for across the board.
Yeah. Wait, who's your guy in wrestling or gal? I guess for wrestling, by the way.
I would say right now, I'm biased, but my guy is Johnny Gargano.
Oh, come on!
Sorry. I mean, if we're going to go a little bit wider, I mean, I would say also Kevin Owens.
Okay, so for those who don't know, Johnny Gargano is a good choice, but I kind of figured he would pick him, so I thought who would be his second choice. So, John, if you're listening, we love you. I just figured that he would have picked you already.
Yeah,
so.
And obviously I got to throw a mention out there to Candice LeRae as well.
Yeah, Candice LeRae definitely needs some more opportunities to shine on that main brand. But man, Jim, I'm just being able to hang with you, chat with you, just chop it up like old times means the world, man. But here's the fun part: if someone's listening to you right now, they want to follow you, they want to engage with you, they want to ask you about Dollar Dog Night. How do they go about doing that?
I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, all at the same handle at the Jimmy V. TheJimmyV. I am not the Jimmy V. I will always give respect to Jim Valvano, but yeah, that's just my online handle.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. We've got to have you back on a future episode. This is In the Booth with Local Boys, talking with those who love the game as much as you. Thank you. Don't leave me